Good evening, folks. This evening I'm going to be putting together this YesWelder YWT-200. I was told that this YWT means YesWelder TIG. Makes sense. Don't know if that's what it means or not, or if there's any rhyme or reason to that. But we're going to be going through this, setting it up, seeing how this goes together. If you want to see me unboxing it, check out the last video of the step deck, and we unbox this thing and whatnot. I should mention this here did not come with it, and I had to ask for this separately. So if you're going to get one of these, a TIG welder, mine did not come with it. Maybe, I don't know if I have a special version that they send out to people like me, but mine did not come with a regulator. So keep that in mind. But this evening we're making a rocket stove. So I need to preface this and say I have never made a rocket stove. I've never used one. I just know that they are very efficient as far as in terms of cooking, and or if you need to use it for heat or whatever, they're very efficient. In that sense, more so for cooking. So I kind of went ahead and cut a couple angles, and I need to change something because my plan was this is going over here, this one's going here. Now I think that would work. Obviously this here, I'm going to saddle this piece to go here. This will be our scud launcher there, but I'm going to saddle that to here, cut a hole in it. And this side was just going to be more or less extra airflow slash maybe a dampening door or something like that. And then this side I was going to divide it in the middle and have airflow on the bottom, and then our kindling, or more or less wood, would be on top of that, just so it's not resting on the bottom. It will burn easier. I had a guy tell me that putting a grate in here made a big difference. Putting a grate in the bottom, something for the wood to sit on. So I may not even put this piece on here. So what I was going to do anyway is, I was thinking I was going to put this here and then this on top of it, but now we're too much of an angle. So what I need to do is put the welder together so that I can tack this back together like so, and then I want to take this and cut. These are about 21 degrees, something like that. Bandsaw wouldn't go any more than that. So I'm going to make it take out 10 degrees from that, so we're sitting at more of a, because this would be probably, what is that? That's almost like an 80. So make it less than that, but more than a 45. That's the basis of it. So the only things we're going to need to do, like I said, I'm gonna cope this and saddle it to that, and then modify this. But let's get the welder put together and go from there. Should be mentioned that over here in the corner, I've got it set up on 110 right now. So I'm be trying out first 110. If I need more, I can do that. But if I need I want to see what we can get out of 110 first. But I'll probably wind up dropping a 220 plug down on the wall somewhere here, so I can plug this in, dedicated outlet for this. So let's go ahead and start doing what we need to do. As mentioned before, this did not come with it. We don't need this. We have a hose with double barbed ends. Maybe we do need this. We don't need all of it. We just need the. What do we need here? We need this part of it. That's what we need. Alright, that doesn't need to be too tight, I don't think. Alright, that's hooked up. Put that aside. Here we've got our ground. Nothing special about that, just some bent kind of, it's not bad, but not great. So we're going to put that into our work, or ground I should say. Got that. Set that aside. This is Stinger. Pretty decent spring tension, but it's just stamped copper. It's not solid. So again, it's not bad, not great. But we're not going to use that right now. We're going to put this to the side. And I'm going to open up the one that I don't think I'm going to use first. So there's two different sizes here. This is just your standard TIG torch setup. We've got 4, 5, and 6 number sizes on the cups. I mean, this is definitely a well put together kit. Collet body, collets, probably one for a few different sizes of tungsten. I don't have a lot of tungsten anymore because I don't do a lot, so I went and I got some. When I was doing a lot of TIG welding, these here rare earth, I think they call them, something like that. These were the purple ones anyway. They were pretty good. And then a good all around tungsten for me, 2% lanthanated. It works well on steel and on aluminum. It's not great. It's not the best for steel, but it's like if you need to swap back and forth, this is pretty good for either or. But anyhow, this is like a number 17 style to me. They call it a 26. I thought 26 was a water cooled version of this. Could be wrong. But it's got this here button on the back. I hope this is high freak. I have no idea. We're gonna try it out. But for what I like or what I need to do here as far as welding, I prefer a foot pedal. That's nice as you can control the heat. But just for tacking things and stuff, I hope that's what that is. Where it's just, I don't know if it's high freak or not, but I'm hoping it is. Again, standard torch. Put that aside for now. This is the one that I want to use because it is a lot smaller. Consumables are smaller. Here is, let me get this here better. Side by side, handles are the same, but the consumables are smaller. So maybe it's not what I thought it was going to be. But I'm going to try this one out first, a smaller one, just because the consumables are smaller. This obviously won't handle as much heat as this one will. But as long as you ain't doing a bunch of welding for hours on end, this should hold up just fine. So we're going to use this one. I'll go ahead and put it together quick. Again, this is not a more or less how-to, but get your collet body goes in there. We've got 4, 5, and 6 cup sizes. I'm going to go with the 6 just because. And I'm going to try the purple rare earth first. And I'm going to use, sometimes, what do we have here? Alright, I'm going to go with, normally you have different, you have the appropriate size collet body for your collet. Usually, well, I know at least gas lines. I can't remember if on this here anyway, but these are all just kind of generic. But I'm going to use 3/32 tungsten for now. And I'm going to use the tall boy. Head in there like so. Okay. So, alright, and then I'm not sure why this is a mile long, but it goes right here. And now that I think about it, this kit may not be the consumer kit for this machine because there's no instructions on, there's no instructions in this, there's no nothing, it's just, hopefully you know what you're doing, put it together, plug that up. Alright. So we should more or less be set up. Alright, let's go ahead and turn this thing on. Alright, lighting ain't great, power's on the back I think. 110 RO1. Okay. Alright, so it looks like we can get 110 amps on 110 volts. Coincidence or not? No idea. Alright, so we've got top left corner. Let me switch cameras. 110 volts, 110 amps is what we can get out of it. Top left, we've got weld mode. We've got, right now it's in high freak TIG, lift TIG, and stick. We're going to see if high frequency works or not. Torch mode, 2T, 4T, and foot pedal. We don't have a foot pedal, so I'm going to leave it in 2T. And basically, if you're not familiar what 2T and 4T is, 2T you can, let's see if this even works. High freak acting like it works. So 2T is you push it down and you hold it the duration of the time you're welding. And 4T is you press it, let off, and it's welding, and then you press it again, let off, and it stops. So that's very simple there. Duty cycle, how do we get to any of this? So we've got DC and we have pulse, and we've got cold spot. Cold spot. No idea. We'll play around with that. Can we mess with, there we go. So pre-gas, pre-flow, 0.2 should be fine. Start amps. We're gonna start at 10. Slope up, off, which means how long before you want it to go up to max amps that you have set. We're gonna leave that off. Duty cycle. All right, that's on. That's just the regular thing. All right. Slope down. Stop amperage. We're gonna go to 10. Post flow. Rule of thumb is 1 second for every 10 amps, I think. So we're just gonna bump this up a little bit. We'll probably be running, we'll leave it there. This, and post flow is just a way to shield your tungsten and everything that you just welded while it's still cooling down. You don't get any entrapment in there. So that's pretty simple. I like it. Pretty basic. We'll play around with it, but I'm gonna leave it on 2T. This is gonna be good for just kind of spotting and tacking, where you hold it down while you're welding, and then if we got a long weld or something, we'll bump it to 4T. But if you're holding it in 4T, that click every time once you get to the end, it's gonna more or less cause you to dip it or try to push it whenever you try to push it, you're gonna want it to have a tendency to push down with it. So we're gonna leave it in 2T, and let's give this thing a try. Alright, got my saddle cut up. Did not do anything fancy as far as fitting it up. I just laid a piece of pipe over top of it like so, traced around it, and then did a bunch of work with the grinder. So we got this more or less fit, the saddle fit, but I'm going to go ahead and tack up that piece and the other uplight for the feed ramp or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to tack that up, and then I went and cut out I kind of pre-planned this. but I cut out some legs or some feet or whatever. But I'm going to take this tab, bend it over, but those are going to sit somewhere on the bottom here. I don't know why that's so gappy, but anyhow, I'm going to cut these, weld them to the bottom, so that way I can get a level on my saddle piece here in order to know where to cut that. So let's tack this stuff up here. All right, we're done with what I'm going to do for it right now. This thing is pretty sweet. Let me start off by saying I really like this. I really like the ability to just keep tacking, like I mentioned before. The foot pedal for me is the way to go because you can control it. But for this and many of the stuff that I need a TIG welder for, I love having that little thumb switch there. Hyperlite start, 110 amps. It did, on 110 volts, it did fine. You can tell, you know, aside from my partially dipped tungsten on halfway around the thing, had quite a big gap here to fill. But, I mean, it welds great. No complaints there. So, definitely going to be using this a lot to come. But we're at the point now where we need to test this thing out. Because like I said before, I have no knowledge, I have no experience of how this thing, rocket stoves, or, you know, I know the idea. The idea is you've got your fuel source going in one, and then you've got a separate air source so that you're creating an updraft. But I don't know if that's going to be to divide this, or if I just pack this tight and then block this off. I don't know what's going to work best. So we're at the point now where we need to test it, and so that's what we're going to do. We're back with test number 2 now. Learned a few things, made a couple changes. This isn't necessarily a change, it's just an add-on, but I added a little piece here and I added half a damper here. So one thing that I talked to somebody about a rocket stove recently, and he had mentioned that it was a lot better having the flow on the opposite side of the your fuel kindling, whatever you want to call it. It's very common for guys to split this in half so that air is drawing in here and also pulling, you know, you have your kindling on top and then you have your air being pulled from underneath. And he had suggested that this was a better way to draw air from the other side. So first test, I just had a couple pieces of plate up there just to block it off. Now I've had a piece welded in, and this is our grate that we used last time, just plain and simple to keep the fuel off the bottom. I'm going to cut a piece of plate with some holes in it, but more or less get rid of the expanded and actually get a plate. But this is going to work for now for next test, and I'm going to have to play around with this to try to get it right. But I'm going to maybe do like a little door here. For now, I'm just going to put the just a plate if I need to adjust it. But it was working really well this way. I just had to block off most of the airflow, and then I added this here because some of the bigger pieces, whenever they get to this point, there's no airflow. Like just this alone, and with this gaping hole over here, it just wanted to burn this way, right? Because there was a lot of flow this way. But blocking this off created an effect where it wanted to come out the top. So it's pulling air here, pulling fuel from this side, creating mixture and producing flame there. So with this one, I basically, because when I got to bigger sticks put in here and they would lay back too far, and it just wasn't the right, they weren't being up there far enough to burn and keeping them off the wall where air could get underneath of it. So not necessarily to separate anything other than to just keep the bigger sticks up and try to get some airflow on the backside if at all possible. But really it's just drawing air from here, creating an effect, but also it needs to pull this way also. So let's get this thing going. I'm going to cheat again and use my propane torch to get it going, but other than that, get it going, see what kind of damper we need here, and try to cook some bacon on this thing. This is taking a lot longer to cook than normal, partially because I've been learning as I've been going here, and I'll explain in a second. Do you like my tongs here? So what I learned is this works great, meaning kind of like a reverse flow where it can draw from this side and come up to it rather than try to suck in air through the same hole. But the problem is, once the grate got filled up with coals, it basically shut down the airflow from this side. It had no fuel to pull from this side. So what I wound up doing, traditionally, traditional rocket stove is what I think traditional is. Block this side completely, and then it's pulling air as it's burning on this side. So it's just one stream, and it's working a lot better even from the start. So I think I need to do some tweaking to it and try it out some more, but overall we can cook some bacon and have a good time with it. But what I'm thinking about doing is just creating a door over here, and then I want to make a little shovel or something that I can hang on the side, or something that I can just reach in there after a little while, scrape the coals out, and I might even put a divider on this backside and do that. But I mean, it's working good right now. It's just not completed, more or less. So anyhow, that's that. I'm gonna finish cooking this bacon and call it a night, call it a video. So I guess thanks for watching. By the way, bacon's good. I wish I could give you a piece of this bacon, but I know I can't. All right, see you guys next time.